Hey, this is Snowblitz.
6-string.
Starlight Ironhoof.
4-string.
And Zeta Prime.
And this is Elements of Harmony. Tonight on the show, we have Boshfire, the mastermind behind epic final bosses of Equestria and the Lunar Orchestral series. Baschfire blends a unique mix of dubstep, electronic, and orchestral genres. Boshfire's epic and energetic sound has been refined in his recent album release, Seeds of Discord EP, and he joins us here tonight. Welcome once again to Elements of Harmony, and here tonight we have Boshfire. Boshfire, hello.
Hello.
The energetic and awesome Boshfire is here.
Always energy. Always.
All energy, all the time.
Yes.
I wanna be with you.
Oh my gosh, no, it's gonna be stuck in my head forever.
I live in harmony, harmony, oh.
Beautiful.
That's a special performance of Elements of Harmony by Elements of Harmony.
Yes.
Well, that's pretty much how I expected the intro to go, but
Yep.
yes.
Yes, it's already going downhill.
So Bosh, you are insane. So tell us about yourself.
Well, you already gave my best feature.
Oh, yeah, sorry. We have no idea what you are like, but please tell us what you are like.
Oh god, what am I like? I'm high energy. Really high energy. I literally listen to Eurobeat music to help myself calm down. If that's any reference. I don't know. I'm really tall. I'm 6'4". I have.
This is a dating channel now?
Yes, ladies, get at me.
Do you like long walks on the beach?
Very much so, I must say. They're quite pleasant, especially when you have a nice sunrise.
Do you like pina coladas?
Oh, pina coladas, of course. I mean,
Do you like candlelit dinners?
well, they're all right. I kind of did those. Actually, serious anecdote. I did used to do those a lot when I was a kid. So I don't find them to be romantic because we always did them in the dead of winter when we were trying to save energy. So, yeah. Candlelight dinners are unfortunately not too romantic.
But you do like hugs.
I am a hug machine. That should be a song.
A hug machine?
Yes, a hug machine.
But yes, aside from the things that you like doing that don't involve music, tell us about your music.
About my music. I originally started music when I was in my freshman year of high school. No, of college. And I had an interesting relationship with music growing up. I played piano since I was 3 years old. I started percussion in 4th grade, like every kid who goes to public school. And I started singing in high school. And I kind of hated it, which is weird. But I was like, I don't want to do like anything with music and whatnot. I want to make a video game. And so I tried to learn programming and all of that. I did that my junior year of high school and discovered, holy crap, do I suck at programming. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I can't make a game, but I really want to be in video games. So my brother, my freshman year of college, said, hey, music is a really important part of video games, because think of all your favorite games. They have awesome soundtracks. I'm like, oh my god, you're actually smart for once. I should totally make music. And so I started taking composition lessons at my school. I listened to video game music all the time, and as a result, I've started making music. And that's why everyone says I sound like Kingdom Hearts.
Speaking of video game music, are you currently involved with any video games right now?
As of right now, I am working on a pony game known as Harmony Eclipsed, and I'm working on the soundtrack with the another musician, Radiark, who is also well known in the orchestral scene, and we are both doing the soundtrack for that game. I was involved with Pony Emblem, which is a crossover of Fire Emblem and Ponies, although that I think has died out, unfortunately. And I've also done a number of tracks for Super Smash Ponies. So that's my main involvement with video game music.
Oh yeah, Super Smash Ponies. We had Carbon Maestro on a couple of weeks ago, and we asked him what it was like working with you. And do you know what he said?
I have no idea.
He said that working with you was like kind of like working with his senpai.
Oh.
Senpai, no, this is me.
The otaku in me is
So
proud.
kawaii desu.
Great. Well, that means I have another kohai.
Awesome. So, what video game, or what's your favorite soundtrack from a video game?
Oh gosh, that's hard. It kind of goes through phases, I think.
Mhm.
My first favorite soundtrack was Final Fantasy X2,
Yes.
and I will stand behind that, saying that I don't care what you say about the game and its storyline, which I can understand why people hate it. That has the most amazing and funky soundtrack ever, and I love it to death.
It's just 70s TV show.
But it's fast too. It's so much energy. I love it. Most of my favorites are really JRPGs. My current favorite right now is Hexus Force, which is a PSP, PS Vita game, and that has an amazing soundtrack. Also a big fan of Radiant Historia, of course, the classics Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VI is an amazing one too.
I've never played a Final Fantasy game. Is that bad?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've
It's
never.
bad.
That's
Yes, it is.
Hey,
terrible.
six. Okay, I haven't either.
No,
Okay.
both of you, go play right
Yeah,
now.
you're both kicked out of this interview, and you have to go play Final Fantasy VI now.
Now.
Okay, no, seriously though, I've been listening. It's kind of ironic that you're talking about video game music right now because I've been listening to the Halo soundtrack like
Halo does have a
nonstop.
good one.
I love Halo's soundtrack.
Halo
to death.
soundtrack is amazing.
Halo has a good soundtrack. I don't like it as much. I mean, I'm a very Japanese sensibility when it comes to music,
Mhm.
which is fairly evident with how people respond to my music.
Yes.
A fun game that you never want to try is making a drinking game where you take a shot every time you see a comment talking about my music in Kingdom Hearts. I think the total amount of Kingdom Hearts comments I've gotten over all of my videos is somewhere between 75 and 100.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
It's a
Good
lot.
lord.
Well, it's because of the way that your music is composed, and it's one
Oh,
of the
yeah.
things that I noticed with your music and that I loved about your music. And I kind of feel like I'm kind of being Tim tonight because I'm just kind of geeking out about music that you like. And like, I have to ask, have you ever listened to Mitsuru Yasunori?
I have no idea what that is.
He apprenticed with Nobuo Uematsu, the writer of the Final Fantasy. and
My hero.
yeah. Everybody knows who Nobuo Uematsu is, but
Oh yeah.
Mitsuru Yasunori was his apprentice basically at one point, and he went on to create the score for the Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross games.
Oh, yes.
I love those tracks. My I think it was Chrono Cross and not Trigger, and it's Too Far Away Times.
Yes.
That is undeniably my favorite video game song in the world.
Really?
I mean, I've listened to a lot, but there's something, I don't know what it is. I'm a huge fan of peaceful songs, and I'm a huge fan of epic songs, and that kind of combines them both. I know there's another song, I think Time Scar.
Yes, Time Scar.
It starts
Yeah.
off with like the guitar, and it
Yes.
goes into the really fast pace. That's an awesome
Yes,
song.
I think that's
Oh,
the one I'm
yes.
thinking about. I think that's
Yeah.
actually the title track,
I
or the
played-
first track. But,
I
yeah.
played that at a convention down in Virginia. I don't remember what it was called. It was a really small con, and I was playing with a friend who's a flute and voice major. So I was playing piano and she was playing flute, and we did Time Scar, and that was an amazing song.
That is beautiful.
It's also insanely hard to play the piano transcription that I wrote. I was trying to keep really true to the original arrangement, and I think it's like 120, 130 BPM, and it has this like it has chords because it has three three solo string instruments, and so you're playing 16th notes at 130 BPM with one hand. It's like da, 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 and I'm like, oh my.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's
basically a
really
hand
hard to
microphone.
play that with one hand. Let me tell you. And then you
That
have
seems like it would be really tiring.
It's
What would have made it best is if you guys had a fiddler too.
it would have been
yes.
awesome.
Because that fiddle line just
Oh.
it gives
Yeah,
me chills.
I mean that's that's exactly what I was playing on the piano. It was like it was
Yep.
that was so much fun.
Yes.
That was a fun one too.
Oh, we're gonna have to link that song.
That's
to
a great
our-
song.
Yeah,
to the
Yes,
Twitter.
we
I need to
to.
listen
Or
to
something,
this. You
yes,
guys make me want to
definitely.
listen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I
this it's literally the music from Chrono Cross is just amazing.
Yes,
the
it
Time
is.
Scar is
It
the
is.
most amazing track from it. But anyway, we should move on and talk about actually like Bosch's music.
Yeah,
Yeah,
moving on.
Moving
talk
on. So let's talk about conventions. How many have you been to so far?
Let's see. Well, actually, my first one was local anime con in my hometown. That was fun. But I've been to I think 5 pony cons. I went to the first or second BronyCon in September. Then besides that, I've also been to Big Apple Pony Con, Canterlot Gardens, Cutie Mark Con, lots of BronyCons. Toricon. There was an anime con, the anime con that I went to in Virginia, but I honestly do not remember the name. I've also been to MagFest a couple of times.
You found any difference between performing at Brony and anime conventions or other?
Fortunately, I haven't performed at anime cons. I would love to, because I'm reasonably certain that people would identify with the music that I make, because I sound like anime now.
Then let's say like the atmosphere. Is it different from an anime convention when you go to a pony convention?
Very different. Anime cons can be really combative in a way, because
Yeah.
you have a lot of different fan bases there. The first con I went to, it's a con that's at Rochester Institute of Technology, known as Toricon, and the fans I saw there were Hetalia. Homestuck had just come out then, so Homestuck was in full force.
They're still in full force at cons.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll ever
Don't-
stop.
Don't remind me. I'm gonna have. Actually, fun story. That con is this upcoming weekend, and I'll be there again, laughing at all of the ridiculous amount of troll cosplays that I'm going to see.
Oh gosh.
You've been to a lot of conventions, but how many have you actually performed at?
I have performed at 3 now. I performed at Cutie Mark Con. I performed at the most recent BronyCon, and I also performed at Big Apple Pony Con.
And these are all in 2013, right?
Yes.
Do you have one that you feel like you got the most out of?
BronyCon was definitely the one I got the most out of. It was huge. I was unfortunately on the night after the cracked ceilings, so no one was really allowed to jump, which was rather unfortunate.
Oh yes, the chanting. Please don't jump. Please don't
It
jump.
was a lot of fun all the same. One thing, when I perform, my style of writing is that I let music speak for itself, so I don't have to do a lot, because when I was performing, it was mostly me adding a few small effects onto the music, and then I was just going crazy on stage, because I get really, really into music, so I just kind of go loose. And so that's why I like BronyCon a lot, because the music itself was speaking for its own, and people kind of realized at that point that my mantra was, instead of getting up and jumping up, you just get down, and you just kind of there was a lot of headbanging and thrashing going on. I could only see like the first 3 rows of people because there was a ton of fog, but I just saw like a lot of thrashing going around. It was really awesome seeing.
Was there any moshing?
There were some there may have been more, but there was, I think, a little bit of moshing starting at that point.
Oh my, bronies moshing. That's
Emo
scary.
pig ninjas.
I was the 3rd set in the electronic set. So Philly, I believe, was our first, Philly Poo. Then it was Exploding Heart Technique. and then I was up. So it was pretty early in. So I mean, they were really just starting to loosen up and figure out what they were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So if there were big mosh pits, I couldn't see it, but it was honestly a lot of fun seeing people kind of going a little bit crazy, and God knows I was going really crazy.
All right, so we got to hear a little bit about your passion for and how you got into video game music, and now we've also heard a little bit about your convention experience. All right, so it's about time we take our first song break. We're going to be listening to the title track Seeds of Discord featuring MJ and Meredith Sims. You're listening to Elements of Harmony on Everfree Network.
Now, that was the title track from Seeds of Discord EP featuring MJ and Meredith Sims. Now, Boshfire, tell us about it.
It was a fun track, really. The big thing with me is a lot of the people who follow me on Tumblr, by the way, you should totally follow me on Tumblr, hint, hint. Follow me, boshfire.tumblr.com. What?
Tumblr's a scary place.
No, it's great. If you follow my blog, it's all happy because it's lots of humor and anime. Yay! But
yay.
It's a lie.
But moving into the anime part, that's exactly my inspiration for the whole EP. Was that I listen to a lot of anime soundtracks, and I also watch a lot of anime. I think at this point I've watched over 200 different shows. I would put them all on my list, but I don't remember each name.
Which series is your favorite?
Horizon in the Middle of Nowhere is my favorite. Action Idolmaster is my favorite overall because it's about girls becoming idols and it has lots of music. Go figure.
Music? Who does that?
What? Who makes music? I don't know.
Yeah, who does music anymore?
Wow, stupid people. God.
My computer does it for me, right?
I mean, it's just like, all you need is FL Studio and Massive, and you just make all the best stuff ever. You don't even have to you just press like 3 buttons, and then you have music.
You must be a real poet.
Oh, yes. I'm like Tombstone. Kick, snare, kick, snare. But, the inspiration of that whole EP was to sound like anime. And so I decided that, I've always loved anime openings because they're incredibly diverse in how they sound, and I love electronic music, so I decided to combine the two and make a very bombastic open anime opening that was about Discord, and it was based around the events of the season 4 premiere of Ponies, because the whole synopsis of that plot was because everything was happening, spoiler alert, because of these stupid seeds that Discord threw into the ground thousands of years ago or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so it was basically, the idea of it was Twilight singing to Discord saying like, why should I trust you? Because you're an idiot and you threw all these seeds around, so how do I know you're actually a good person?
Yeah, Baka.
God, why Baka, baka, baka. You're so mean.
Speaking of Baka, though.
It's not like I like you or anything.
Speaking of Baka, which, for those who aren't trained in the ways of Moonspeak, is stupid. Stupid in Japanese. Or idiot.
It's more like
Moonspeak.
It's general derogatory.
Isn't it more like weeaboo-nese or
No, it's
something?
basically, when people say baka, it's basically saying either I hate you, you're stupid, or you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Or referring to oneself.
Yes, I
as
know
well.
that. I was just saying when Americans say it, they're kind of a weeaboo.
Yeah, kind of.
Anyway,
cut that.
Anyway, Luna.
We are cutting
Luna
that.
would be proud.
Baka.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
Luna would be proud of the chord progressions that you put into this title track. It's awesomely energetic, and it as you said, it's very kind of J-pop or anime opening type of thing. I absolutely loved it. It reminded me of the Tokyo Mew Mew opening, I think, actually. Just sort of the kind of chord progressions that you used.
One thing that is consistent with anime openings is their chord progressions. Generally, what you have your opening, and it has going into a little bit of music theory. I apologize for the.
No, we like theory.
Yeah.
Theory's good.
We can revisit it in the Tech Talk.
Theory's good.
Do it.
I'll try to make it as simple as possible. Basically, the way Japan does things is the 2 chord progressions they follow is either what is known as stepwise motion, where it's basically, if you look at a piano, you see you have the white keys and the black keys. Stepwise is any 2 notes that are right next to each other. So like a white key to a black key would be stepwise, or a white key to the white key next to it is also stepwise. And so they'll usually go down, like you'll have the main key, which is the key signature of the whole song. Then it goes down to the chord under it, and then it go down again. Then you go down again. So like if we were in the key of E flat, you go from E flat to D minor to C minor to B flat major. If you don't know what that means, I'm sorry. Go look it up.
So you're going down your scale steps.
Yeah, you go down your scale steps.
Okay.
And then the other thing they do is basically what's known as a circle of fifths progression. And I would explain that, but that'd take like 20 minutes. So just go on Google and look up Wikipedia circle of fifth progression or circle of fifths, and it'll kind of make sense.
So we have something to revisit. But yes. So moving on about the album though, listening to it kind of as I listen to the tracks, they sort of flip-flop between this sort of awesome J-pop kind of orchestral thing into, a more dubstep track, and then, kind of back and forth like that. And I have to say, one of the tracks that gave me chills when listening to it was Elegant Nightmare.
Yes. That's a fun
Yeah.
song.
I have to, I just want to get this straight right off the bat, though. Was it based off the Nightmare Rarity thing from the comics?
No.
Oh.
I will say that flat out,
Wow.
it was not.
That actually, it would make sense to me though.
It would?
Where was your inspiration drawn from for that song?
It was interesting. This is great, because this relates back to the game that I'm working on, Harmony Eclipsed. And basically the idea was, I have a friend, she goes by Taylor Rose, and she's the fan voice of Twilight Sparkle with Silly Philly Studios. And so I was like, I love her speaking voice, and I have like this love of what I call epic poetry, which is basically like spoken word over a track. So I wanted her to be in the EP because I find it really cool. The whole EP was basically music that I wanted to listen to because I really liked it, and I really didn't care if anyone else did. But so I listened, and I was like, okay. But the inspiration was the story in the game is all the main six are corrupted, and so what it was Twilight speaking to what we call Nightmare Rarity, and her values were all corrupted, and so it was like, why are you being this way? And as a result, the whole track was intended to be a battle, the boss theme for Rarity's boss fight. So that's the inspiration behind the song.
But I thought you said it didn't have anything to do with the Nightmare Rarity.
From the comics.
I've never looked at Nightmare Rarity comics. Nightmare Rarity is what we call her before we save her and make her normal Rarity.
That's interesting because the MLP comics did a whole thing on Nightmare Rarity.
I have to admit, I've never looked at it.
It was, I think, comics 5, 6, 7, and 8 or something like that. I had never actually heard of it until a week ago when I was talking to Gato Paint.
All right.
Actually, from the song that we featured last week on the live episode, was entirely based off of Nightmare Rarity, and that's my first inspiration, or my first introduction to the Nightmare Rarity and that whole progression in the comics. And it's actually made me really interested in the comics and wanting to go out and actually buy them and read them now.
Yeah, I do want to give a shout out to Gato Paint. I was in pre-listeners for Equestria Daily for a little bit, and whenever we had his stuff with him doing guitar stuff, it was awesome. He has an amazing guitar sound and skill. So shout out to Gato Paint for being absolutely cool with what he does.
We must battle. There can only be one.
I play piano, not guitar. There's no competition.
Piano versus guitar, go!
Never mind. Different discussion. But I was going to say that piano, like, the majority of the time, if someone's really good at piano, they could kick my butt.
Interesting fact about me and piano, I actually had an accident about a year and a couple months ago where unfortunately, what happened was I sustained a very, very serious injury to my right hand. And to this point, I am still unable to play piano even a quarter as well as I used to be able to. So there's a very real chance you could actually play better than I do now.
Wow.
I still seriously doubt that, but what happened? If you want to tell us, that is.
I won't give the details because I don't think we'd be able to talk about it if I gave you the details. But we'll just say I severed the nerve in my right hand. So I have extensive nerve damage in my right hand. So I have limited feeling in my pinky and ring fingers.
Oh.
So when you're playing piano, you're doing a lot more of it with just one hand now?
I do a lot of one hand. I only play with 4 fingers on my right hand.
Wow.
I don't have...
Ouch.
It's unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is.
I think we can all sympathize very strongly.
Yeah. No, I actually, one 4th of July, I burnt the pointer, middle, and ring fingers on my left hand because I lit a pack of jumping jacks or whatever they're called. I don't even know. They like spin around in circles. Yeah, I lit it. One of the sparks flew off and lit the one in the middle, and it literally melted those 3 fingers together on my left hand.
Oh wow!
And it hurt so bad, and it sucked because I literally could not play guitar for like a month or 2 months.
It
maybe.
must have been terrifying.
Ouch.
It was terrible.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience.
Yeah. Injuries, guys.
Yeah.
Going back to the album and the tracks on it there, I noticed you did a lot of work with voice talent, and you got some really, really good performances out of them too. So how much of that is your direction? Like, how much do you actually direct your voice talent, or do you just take your track, throw it their way, and say, go?
I did everything. Everything was, I wrote the lyrics, I wrote the melodies. Well, actually, Seeds of Discord was the only exception. I had a little bit of help from my friend Addison, or Fantasy Addict. Or, I think he goes by Hardest Copy now.
It's just hard copy, yeah. But please call him Fantasy Addict. He hates that. Just keep going.
I call him Fantasy Addict because that's what I first met him as. Or, actually, no, I don't call him that either. I call him Scrub because that's what he is. He is. He's just a scrub.
Oh man!
But so he wrote the first half of the first verse, and he wrote the chorus for Seeds of Discord. But everything else in terms of melody and lyrics was all on me, and I basically told my different voice actors what I wanted them to do, what I wanted it to sound like. Everyone was in a call with me. And we went through at least one take. With Jen, we went through one take for each of the songs that she was in, which I believe was Night Shadows and Seeds of Discord. And I told her, this is what I want. Fun story with Night Shadows. She did not sing the really, really high part on that song because it's abusively high. And when I say abusively, I mean it's literally so high that it's pretty much beyond anyone that is a ungodly, amazing opera singer. So that one was actually pitched up through the power of technology. But yeah, I mean everything was just what I told them to do.
And Night Shadows was a super energetic song too, with a great mix of dubstep elements with the orchestral. And awesome horn melodies as well, I noticed.
Oh yeah, I mean, my biggest mantra is that orchestral music is not appreciated the way it should be. And I like, and I know people love electronic music, and I want to show that electronic and orchestral can be combined to be absolutely amazing.
I think Japan's been showing us that.
Electronic orchestral is like my favorite genre, pretty much.
It has so much potential.
Yeah, no, Night Shadows was just, there was so much stuff going on in that song, like the awesome low piano arpeggios, adding like this sinister depth to the song, which we haven't heard since like Danny Elfman was like, you know, in every movie. But
this is Halloween.
Honestly, tying this back to video game music, it reminded me of Metal Gear Solid at the beginning.
I really
kind of.
Okay, I will say this because I need to get it out of the way. I have never once listened to the soundtrack from Kingdom Hearts, Metal Gear Solid, and probably a number of classic tunes that you would imagine that I'd listen to. I probably haven't. I hate to break that illusion, but like,
no, that's actually really cool that people compare you to these things. You've never gotten that influence.
Like, it's funny. The thing I hear the most is Kingdom Hearts, and I'm like, and everyone. I've had so many people ask me, how much do you like Kingdom Hearts? Have you played this game? You must have played this game because that sounds like so much like this. And they keep on saying, like, you got to be a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. And I never had the heart to say, I've never listened to a single song from those soundtracks.
Never had the heart?
Well,
I see what you did there.
Wait, is that why something?
Well, to all of you out there who thought he was a big Kingdom Hearts fan,
now,
well, sorry.
everybody knows now.
I do.
The secret's
I
out.
really want to listen to it, and I do want to play the games, but I haven't had the time or the money. So sorry, everyone. I have never listened to Kingdom Hearts.
There's no need to apologize.
I think they're all just holding in all their rage right now.
Yeah, they're all just angrily smashing their keyboards trying to type.
Well, we just lost viewers.
They're
Look at
just
that.
polishing their pitchforks and relighting their torches.
The 10 comments, I'm like, I can't believe he's never listened to this.
No, you'll probably just get a ton of links and emails, be like, listen to this, listen to this, listen to this.
It's like, the moment I'm going to get all the Tumblr ass, finally.
Oh.
It's like, you should listen to this song, and this song, and this song.
I remember back when I first, before I asked Forrest if he would be interested in helping out on this show, I actually asked Boshfire first, if he would be interested in doing this, but you told me that you weren't really into ponies anymore at that point.
I will shamefully admit I have not watched past the season premiere of season 4.
But it's so good.
Admittedly,
Season 3,
I did watch through season 3. Unfortunately,
yeah.
I hope I'm in the majority of people that thought that season 3 was.
Oh, I'm
a waste of
right there
time.
with you. I think it was.
Yeah. Season 3 turned a lot of people off of it.
I did watch season 4, and I did enjoy the premiere. Unfortunately, I mean, like I said, I watch a lot of anime, so I've been watching a ton of shows, and I'm also finishing my capstone project for my audio recording major at school, and our final project. Usually what they do is you go and record a band and you do a album or an EP or something and record them and do all that stuff. But my professor is really cool and understands kind of what I do. So what happened was I said, hey, I'm working on a soundtrack for an animation. And so what I'm doing for that project is I'm writing 12 tracks, 2 of which are like basically an anime opening and ending, and then 10 tracks to be action scenes in the show. The whole idea behind that is the battle scenes are dictated by the music, so everything should have an extremely rhythmic or musical element behind it.
Oh, really? They do it that way?
No, they don't. And that's why it's so different, is because I'm really changing it up by saying, hey, let's do a battle scene dictated by music. Yeah. And it can get it, and I mean, it's unique, but I've been working on that so much that I honestly haven't. I actually am horribly behind on watching the new anime that are out right now, because I spend probably anywhere between 6 and 10 hours a day working on the music that I'm doing now. I haven't
cutting into your anime time.
It's
man.
cutting into everything time.
Yeah.
Well, I know the most popular anime so far is Attack on Titan.
The Attack on Titan fandom, I call it the Gurren no Yumiya fandom, which is the title of the opening theme song.
Yeah.
That's the reason that fan base got so huge.
It is, and the potatoes.
Yeah, well, anyways, taking us away from the pony, we are going to channel our power from the Great Spiral and listen to Overcome the Ledge, featuring Eily Monty, Megami 33, Crows, and many others, here on Elements of Harmony, only heard on Everfree Network.
We've fallen down and scraped our knees. This was the run, but we went down one and jumped with ease.
The world is filled with obstacles that try to bring us down, and none of us are able to progress.
There is so much conflict among us, indecision all around, that at times we feel totally helpless.
But there might be a way we could possibly win, if we could not be so quick to click that downward button.
Together we shall shall all pause and sing. If we just work with each other, we'll accomplish anything. No single tree will block our path. United we can cut them down. As long as we stick
Nanny Ratata and Zubat. Torch away that moonstone. This isn't the time for that.
If we all showed a little self-restraint, who knows where we could be? As long as we can all agree to stay away from that PC. Anarchy has left this world shattered. Democracy has got no soul. But don't let our troubles distract you. Do not lose sight of our goal.
Together we shall overcome the ledge. Forever we shall all pause and sing. If we just work with each other, we'll accomplish anything. No single tree will block our path. United we can cut them down. As long as we stick together, we will pledge to overcome the ledge.
If we all just work together, it doesn't matter if we are fire type, psychic type, ground type, or even a descendant of the dome. Together, we will overcome each and every ledge in front of us, and the ledges inside our hearts that prevent us from progressing anywhere. No ledge can stop us as we walk in the light of the Holy Helix. He will guide us forever on the path of righteousness.
Down.
Guys, I tried to talk to our Helix. Really?
With every misstep we take, there could always be a fix. Know that in every downward spiral, it's just a rising helix.
Together we shall overcome the ledge. Forever we shall all pause and sing. If we just work with each other, we'll accomplish anything. No single tree will block our path. United we can cut them down. As long as we stick together, we will pledge to overcome the
And that was Boshfire's Overcome the Ledge. Praise be to Helix, all you agents of Dome, you better be watching out. Boshfire. So there's a really interesting history behind this song. I'm not sure if all of our viewers have heard about Twitch Plays Pokemon. Perhaps you could tell us what inspired this.
All right. Well, this was inspired by obviously by Twitch Plays Pokemon, which is basically a channel on Twitch.tv, where all the commands have to be entered in the chat room of the channel, and
Left, right, A, B,
left,
start.
right, up, D, A, B, start.
Start 9.
Start 9.
Start 9.
Start 9. Every evolution begins with start 9. Praise be to Helix. I'll shun the heathen, false prophet Flareon.
False prophet Flareon. I forgot about that.
And now we eternally hate every fire type.
So the actual control scheme, because of that, is really chaotic, yet this is
Yes.
a very flowing and melodic song. How did Twitch Plays Pokemon inspire this?
This is a fun story. So I have a friend. His name is Crows. He's reasonably well known. He's with the Desert Bus for Hope, I think. I can never remember names.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's also well known. He's involved. He's part of the band Random Gibberish and a bunch of other stuff. He has connections that I'm terrified of, like the president of Hasbro.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's great.
Pretty scary guy.
Because he knows that I do a lot of symphonic stuff, and it's like, you should totally make an ode to Helix. And I'm like, yeah, right. That's so stupid. Why would I do that? And it's like, and I was also thinking in my head, I have a lot of choir libraries, but I don't have one that I can do actual words. To this day, the only choir library that has actual word building is East West Quantum Leap Symphonic Choirs, which is absolutely incredible.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you ever want a real choir, get that. So I was like, that's dumb. I'm not going to do that. And so a couple days later, he sends me this link called Church of the Helix Choir. And they did a, lo and behold, an ode to Helix. And so I'm like, are you kidding me?
No.
This happened. This actually happened. And I was like, holy cow, this sounds amazing. So I was like, she's like, see, this is why you listen to crows. And I'm like, you know what I want now? You know what someone should do? It's like, we should make like a super inspired. I was at that time, because I was so into the Pokemon scene, I listened to Brother My Brother, which is the ending song of Pokemon, the first movie. And I'm like, this is such a great song. And I was like, someone should totally do a song like Brother My Brother, a nice, happy, we can overcome anything song. It's also known as what we call We Are the World songs, which are just super hopeful. And it's like, yeah, you're gonna be fine. We are so awesome.
We Are the World was the inspiration for the Massive Smile project, too. To bring it back to a fandom example.
Yeah. So I was like, someone should totally do that. And it's like, we could totally do that. And I'm like, I can come up with a hook and melody, no problem. And you're a master at making tracks. And I'm like, I don't know about this. Like, but remember, what about Ode to Helix? It's like, shut up. Shut up. I don't care. You may have been right, but shut up. I was like, we should do it. And I'm like, fine. So we spent about 2 hours coming up with the intro idea, which was basically what you heard at the very beginning of the song, except for the first 4 measures. And so we did that, and I was like, okay, this is kind of funny, and I was kind of expecting this to not go anywhere, but then he wrote out the entire song's lyrics. He made the chorus, and then we brought in his bandmate, Hatch, and he helped make the chorus a little bit better, gave us an intro idea, and it's like, and then next thing we know, we have a full track. So we made this, and I'm like, am I seriously doing this? Am I seriously making a song about Twitch-based Pokemon?
Of course.
And so we were like, yeah, we're doing this.
So moving into the tech talk, we mentioned earlier a little bit about the circle of fifths, and now since it is tech talk time, and the people that don't want to be knowledgeable have dropped out of the stream,
losers.
Guys, this is important.
Yeah,
it's
Leave
just
us.
because they don't like to learn.
When your parents yell at you and ask you what you're doing with your life, you can say that I'm learning about music theory, and then they'll be like,
oh, this is
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, this sounds educational. Yep.
Yes, it'll get your grandchildren.
All right.
You can impress all the ladies.
But yes, elaborate for us and tell us about the circle of fifths.
There's a term in music theory known as a perfect fifth, which is
basically a halfway point between an octave.
Yep, basically.
Mm-hmm.
A fifth is also the basis of how you find key signatures. The first key signature you see is C major.
C major is good. So C major is basically all the white keys on a keyboard.
But so C is and then G is and if you want to be fun, you can go bum, bum. Yeah. Anyways, but so you go and if you want to go as a fifth from G, you go up to D, which is and then you go up to A, and I'm not going to sing any higher because I'm going to kill myself and your ears.
Yeah. The order, I'm looking at it right now, the order of circle of fifths is C, G, D, A, E, B or C flat, F sharp or G flat, C sharp or D flat, A flat, E flat, B flat, F.
Why is it called fifth if there's way more than 5?
So for Zeta here, the reason why it's called circle of fifths is because, let's say you start on C, you do the fifth of C. Once you do that, you're in G. So now imagine you're in the key of G, you do the fifth of that, which is D. Now imagine you're in the key of D and you do the fifth of that, and it just continues like that.
And basically the reason that the circle of fifths is significant is because it gives you your keys, basically. So you know that C is no sharps, no flats. The fifth above that is G. You have 1 sharp. Yeah, the fifth above that is D, which has 2 sharps. So
on and so forth.
Just keeps
yeah.
going on.
Suddenly the world makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's incredibly useful. I mean, actually, when I first started music theory, people said I was really bad at figuring out key signatures based on numbers. And I think it was kind of true now that I realize it. But basically what I did was, whenever I was trying to figure out key signatures, I would look at the number of sharps or flats. And what you do is you start from C and you have 0 sharps and flats. And then you go up a fifth and you go up a fifth and up a fifth. And every time you go up that, I would put out a finger, and then I would eventually okay, well, I'm at this note and I have 6 fingers. And so that means this is that note and this is how many sharps. And that's how I figured out what key signature I was in. Until I finally memorized the number of sharps and flats and stuff. So it's a great learning your circle of fifths is, I would say, borderline essential for music theory because it makes things so much easier when you understand it.
It is, and if you can visualize it, it makes
Sometimes
things
it's
a heck of a lot
actually called the circle of fourths. Could you explain why people sometimes call that?
The circle of fifth works 2 ways. You can either go up or you can go down. A lot of people don't like going down in the circle of fifths because it kind of gets confusing and you can't hear notes really well when you go down to the lower octaves.
If you go from C up to G, it's a fifth. If you go from C down to G, it's a fourth.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and the reason the circle of fourths exists is because of the what we call the flat signatures. Like you have G major, D major, A major. Those are all sharps. And flat signatures, you can either go down in the circle of fifths or you can go up in the circle of fourths. Because C down to F is a fifth, but going C up to F is a fourth. You go C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, and so on and so forth.
That's awesome that you can do that.
Yeah,
that is really cool.
It was also the beginning of my existence in high school.
Another term for perfect pitch for 4D hearing.
For a lot of people, like a lot of musicians erroneously aspire to have perfect pitch, but being born with perfect pitch can be a pretty terrible thing.
It's awful.
Because it makes it very hard for you to, like...
listen to other people's music.
Yeah, listen to other people's music, or in a choir setting to match tones with everybody.
Okay, we're going to get into that a little bit, because everyone thinks that when a lot of people know that I have perfect pitch in my college and colleges that I've been to. There's 2 things that are a big issue. One, you kind of adopt the role of what's known as a pitch monkey, where basically, if you are ever in a setting with a cappella, which is when you're singing without anything except for vocals, you are instantly a reference for notes. They tell you, you sing this? Can you give us this? They ask you, can you give us this note? But in effect, they're basically saying, no, you give us this note, otherwise we're going to die. And you're going to die. And then to go into the next point, I would die because if I don't give them the right note, what I'd have to do, because I have perfect pitch, I see each note on sheet music as the note that it is. But if you don't have perfect pitch, you see things in a relationship of steps, which are half steps and whole steps, and you kind of figure out things based in like
wishy-washy intervals.
Yeah, good old intervals.
Yeah.
And so as a person with perfect pitch, you can't, I personally cannot figure, it takes me time to figure out what that interval is. So basically what I have to do is if they have the wrong note, I am immediately forced to transpose on site in real time each note from that song, and I have to figure out, okay, we are this relationship from this note, and I have to go to that note where they are.
Wow.
And so it requires so much, I mean, to put it in computer terms, it requires so much processing power that I get the worst headaches in the world trying to think that quickly.
If you actually look at the wave construct of a unison and a fifth, they are very similar in terms of
Yes,
the wave
they are.
shape.
Mhm.
The amplitudes are a bit different, and that's why they combine together so beautifully, because it just increases the amplitudes. And some musicians who, like Boshfire, don't have perfect hearing, they can actually get lost on if they're on a first or a fifth, because the sound is so similar to the ear.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We'll go into this a little bit, but that is a huge deal. Understanding the physics of sound, like understanding waves,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
because understanding waves will make or break a song. There's something known as phasing, which is basically think of personalities. When you have people who are quote unquote in phase, they're like exactly the same. They just kind of complement each other. And so that's something that's in phase. Something that's out of phase, it's like kind of going against it. It can create what's known as summing or even outright cancellation of that same frequency.
Well, and we actually talked about this a little bit when we were talking about guitar pickups with Tarby. The humbuckers, they have the pickups that are wound out of phase so that it cancels out the humming noise. So that's actually a perfect example of what that means.
And the thing is, if you don't understand the relationship between frequencies like that and how to adjust them, basically what you end up doing is you have like a bunch of notes that are stupid loud and overshadows everything. Like you probably could have some amazing, cool riffs, sick dubstep basses, wobbles, all this stuff that you could have that's absolutely awesome, but it will not be able to match up because your frequencies are out of phase, and that will absolutely, undeniably ruin your song.
It's also kind of important from the performance standpoint. I played trumpet in a symphonic band for a pretty good portion of my life, and this isn't so much phasing, but on the first and fifth, since they're so tied together, just a basic chord is a first, third, and fifth. If you're playing that third and you're coming in slightly quiet on it, or just even the same volume as the people playing the first and the fifth, it's going to be slightly overshadowed. So you're going to think you're playing a wrong note. So you really need to play it and bring it out so that it blends into the chord.
First, thirds, and fifths are a huge thing of understanding how things work. It's hard to go into a discussion.
Yeah, it's hard to only talk about this for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
There's a reason that music majors have 4 semesters of theory, because there is a lot to learn. And we will actually tie this back to ponies now, because this is a great example. If you listen to This Day Aria, there is a musical term known as a deceptive cadence. Cadence was extremely deceptive in the episode. She was obviously not cadence, she was chrysalis. A cadence is what we call a resolution in music. So you'll hear a lot of songs going from what we call the 5 chord to the 1 chord. So if you're in C major, you go from G major to C major. And so a deceptive cadence would be, instead of going from G major to C major, you go from G major to A minor. Because they sound very similar, because they have 2 similar notes. C major has C, E, and G. A minor has A, C, and E. So you have C and E as common notes. It's deceptive because it makes sense, but it's not what you were expecting.
And then when you do go from the fifth to the first, it's called a true cadence, right?
Authentic cadence. Perfect authentic is very specific, and if you want to learn about perfect authentic cadences, I would recommend looking it up. We don't need to go into the details.
This has been a great moment in music theory, tied back to ponies, brought to you by Boshfire and Elements of Harmony. And on that note, we are out of time today, but Boshfire, thank you so much for coming on. You've been an amazingly educational and energetic guest, so thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And we're going to pass it over to Zeta, who's going to tell us what's coming up in the next few days on Everfree.
Coming up in the next few days on Everfree, on Wednesday, we have the Equestrian Choir at 8 p.m. and Into the Spotlight at 9 p.m. Thursday, tune in for Sketchy Sounds at 3 p.m. All times are in Central. Until next week, this is
Starlight Iron Hub,
Forest Rain,
Snowblades,
Six String,
and Zeta Prime. Goodbye for now.